Hello, this is Carmen Rowe, and I'm going to call this day 8 of 30 days of mindfulness, but like a prior video, it's not day 8, it's many days more than that. But life's just been that way, and I actually started filming a few videos, but my phone was full. One of the 110 things that, all those little things you go to do one thing and you need to do this and that and the other first, and life just gets really full, and the time goes by and you're feeling a little short and like, well, you know what it's like. I don't have to explain it to you. If you're listening to this, you probably know exactly what I mean. And so one is a lesson in bringing yourself back and starting over. That is the essence of meditation and mindfulness, not having a still and perfect brain. Never gonna have, well, not never, but unless you're a true yogi or something like that, that's not gonna happen. Your body, your brain is hardwired to do what it does, and mindfulness is about recognition and working on it, training your mind like a muscle on, I'm off again, and gently bringing it back and starting over. Could be 100 times a minute, but that is successful mediation and successful meditation. My professional life sneaking in here, and successful mindfulness of whatever form it is you choose to do. And so I'm out here to visit a friend on a day that is following many weeks of insanity and a lot of really big things happening and a lot of somewhat unusual dramas, and that is part of life. It is sometimes they're clustered more than others, and this would be one of those times for me. And working through it, a topic for another time, because what I'd like to share with you for this short video is a thought I had when talking with a friend on the way up, kind of unloading on sharing some of what's happening and some of what I'm trying to do with it, including letting go the emotions that don't serve me. You can be completely justified in any frustration, regret, anger, whatever that emotion is. But then there's the very real question of, okay, but is it helping me? And very often not. And it's such an interesting challenge to let it go and how we cling to that. And again, that's its own whole topic. But that conversation led to a comment that my partner made the other day, and talking about choices, and when you really have too much on your plate, there's no rule for that. But when you're feeling it and you're feeling the overwhelm and you feel like you're draining a battery that ran out a while ago, you don't have to feel caught up in a storm of inevitability or fatalistic. And I recognize there are life situations that you don't have a lot of agency, but I am here to suggest there are a lot that you have a lot more agency than you might be thinking, because we have patterns of thought, whether from our own selves or societal expectations or from those close to us, and this have to is pretty ingrained. And it's very useful to stop and say, well, is that really true? And to really challenge yourself. If you say, well, yeah, it is, because some of the examples I'm running into right now are, well, I chose this path or let myself go down it, so now that I'm on it, I have to finish it, or I have to. And I've been challenged on that. And when it comes down to it, if you get very real with yourself, the truthful answer is very often no. You are choosing that is something that you feel like you want to continue with, the should, whether it's a sense of obligation, your sense of honor, your sense of responsibility, ingrained moral standards, whatever. Those are really important, and I'm not dismissing that at all. But to recognize that is a choice, that I am doing this because fill in the blank, and recognize that is a choice. And not even necessarily to mean you should make a different choice, but to give yourself a sense of, okay, I'm choosing this. Take the power back, a little bit of agency with this, and the emotion that comes with that then is going to be very, very different. And that can be a blessing, and that is a form of mindfulness. that can be a real gift. And that's a really good example of the kind of day-to-day thing you can do for yourself to bring yourself a little bit further back to center, to find some equanimity, to find a little bit of space between the emotion and your reaction to it. And the final thought I'll leave with you, my partner said something the other day, like, I'm just lucky I'm doing these extra things and not, and my first response is, what do you mean extra? These are things we have to do. This is part of, in this example, watering the plants and doing some outdoor work. This is just part of what it means to be living in a place we are, because I was feeling a little bit like, why is this all falling on me? I mean, you know how you can get into those spaces, like, this is you're part of this, dude. I mean, what do you mean extras? And I gave myself some space from responding to that, because he did not say it in any kind of negative way. And I knew I was tired, and I'm like, and I didn't have the energy for it. And I'm like, I'm just going to let that one sit and talk about it later. And then, of course, what happens when you give it a little bit of space? I thought, if you boil it down and get right to it, he's not wrong. When I'd asked him, what do you mean extra? He said, well, beyond just getting through my day, going to work and coming home, feeding myself, sleeping, and just surviving, is extra. And I think there's some perspectives that come from that because of different backgrounds. He's had a background that has a lot less privilege than some of mine, and where survival really was part of the game for part of his life. And I think that clearly gives some different perspective. And by saying that, he shared some of that with me, because again, in the spirit of these questions, we can say, well, I have to, or this is, it's like, well, actually that's not 100% accurate. These are extra. Survival is your basic need, and everything else is a choice. And when you start to look at it through that lens and realize, for example, with the house, I could let this whole place go wild and not do a thing and just let nature reclaim it. Is that what I want? No. Is it part of where I feel like this is not how I want to be taking care of things? No. But just the simple recognition of your thinking, and that, no, but this is a choice because this is what I want. There's just I'm not going to try to explain what the emotion is. I'm going to leave it to you to try to discover some of that. And that's my hint for today on some mindfulness as you get through the day, particularly when you're feeling overwhelmed, or like it's just feeling impossible, or that everything you're doing, which is my current emotion, is for everybody else. Stop and ask yourself some questions, and it may not change your path or your choices at all, but it may very well give a different emotion to it and a different feeling, and maybe a little space and grace in your life. And I wish that for you. Have a great day. Until next time, talk to you then. Bye.